Tana and Brooke have been doing Canceled for over 4 years now, and let's just say it's been a journey. Tana brought Brooke on since day one, and at first, people weren't actually a fan. I think the die-hard Tana Mojo fans still had some strong feelings towards Brooke after the whole Mindy storytime situation, and maybe held a little bit of a grudge. Sometimes I feel like it just takes time to get used to something new, and that's definitely what happened here. Brooke was new to everyone, she wasn't the influencer that she is today, but over time, Brooke became a fan favorite. With every passing episode, the comments became more and more positive towards Brooke, to the point people seemed to be more so tuning in for Brooke rather than Tana. I mean, when you look back on some of Cancel's most viral and iconic moments, a lot of them are because of Brooke's stories and Brooke sharing her secrets and her life with the Canceled audience to hear.
Someone sent me a pic. Tell me why at the top it said Facetune in the title.
When I lived in a sorority house, there were 60 girls who lived in the house. The night before like a big day party, we would all sit around the table and take laxatives together and then just like blow the whole house up.
On my bed, under my light bulb, just naked, thinking I was gonna get a tan. I also used to stick a pen in my cheek to try to get a dimple.
Season 1 of Canceled lasted 28 episodes, and then things got a bit derailed. There was an issue with the management company behind Canceled and with contracts and stuff, so Canceled ended up going on nearly a year-long break. During that time, Brooke was exploring her options with starting up her own podcast with Barstool and with another influencer. But things with Canceled finally panned out, and in April of 2023, Season 2 officially started. The podcast has been going strong for over 2 years now. They've done multiple worldwide tours. Their views are always in the millions. It's been wildly successful for them. But things took a turn last year when old tweets from Brooke resurfaced and ended up getting her canceled. Brooke went from being on a high, pretty much at the peak of her career, to being knocked all the way down and people wanting Tana to actually distance herself from Brooke. The icing on the cake was when Brooke started to date her now fiance. Brooke started seeing this guy named Miles McFly last year, and that made Canceled fans even more pissed at Brooke. People looked into Miles and found an old post from him with then 17-year-old model Isabella Pascard when he was nearly 30 years old. A lot of people started to say that they were dating each other, but Brooke has always denied this being true and says they never dated, it wasn't what it looked like, and she stood firm in that statement. But I think over time, the backlash started to become too overwhelming, and the podcast started to seem not as fun anymore. After Brooke's cancellation, you could tell Tana and Brooke were treading extremely lightly. They weren't talking about the drama in the same way they used to. They seemed much more cautious with their words. They were now both in long-term relationships and no longer had messy stories about their dating life. It definitely felt like things had run its course with Canceled, and that's why it was no surprise when Tana and Brooke announced the podcast would be coming to an end after this season.
I think that for both of our mental health, I just feel a little stagnant in my peace era because I'm still holding on to this like unpeaceful.
Me too.
And obviously by contract. And like,
Yeah.
I am getting in this place where I am like really awaiting the ending of this contract for my peace. Like realizing that this is the final outlier in my peace era. Which is so unfortunate because when we started it, well, we weren't peaceful when we started it, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, just, that's what it is. It's like starting this thing as chaotic ass individuals down for the smoke. breaking up our own life. Barney's beanerying it up. Pool boy the house down.
Yeah.
And now we're in this era where like both of us are so peaceful.
And fans were really upset by this announcement, but also not surprised. Many comments pointed out how the podcast never felt the same post-Brooke cancellation, but people were still upset because fans had high hopes that one day things would get back to how they used to be. A lot of comments were also saying that it was never necessarily the drama that they were tuning in for. It was just hearing them talk about their lives, no matter what the context was. Originally, Tana and Brooke were going to see out their contract to the end, but a few weeks ago, Tana announced that would no longer be happening. She said that she realized that wasn't true to her and wasn't what she wanted to do. It was bringing her more pain holding on to it, so she decided to end the contract early, which meant they only had 6 episodes left.
Obviously, I've always said you and I have undeniable chemistry, and I'm so excited to showcase that in different ways. But I just like this commitment and this world around canceled is just no longer for me, and I have to just like radically accept it. And I think that I'm realizing that strength for me is like putting my foot down and ending it. This has to happen for mental health because it's so important, and like it is just so clear to me what this is like now doing to my mental health.
It's devastating, but also exciting. You know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to look at it again as a positive, which I know for a lot of people it's not a positive. It's not a positive for me either. It's not a positive for you, but like so much comes of letting go of things, like especially like before you necessarily feel you're 100% ready. I know you feel 100% ready. I feel a little bit more apprehensive.
Now, we could debate all day long about whose idea this was. Was Brooke the one who wanted to end the podcast? Was it Tana who wanted to end it more? Does Tana want to distance herself from Brooke, especially now that she has a podcast with Trisha and they've both had this like massive redemption online? Who can really say at this point? But one thing for sure is that the ending of this podcast definitely seems more beneficial for Tana than Brooke. Tana has multiple sources of income, whereas Brooke doesn't have as many. So I'm sure ending things is a bit more serious for Brooke, and maybe that's why Brooke was so shocked when Tana dropped some major news on the latest episode of Cancelled. Brooke and Tana were talking about the podcast coming to an end, and Tana mentioned that she didn't know what she was going to do with her channel after the podcast officially ended. She used to post her vlogs on this channel, and she made a comment about going back to the vlogs and deleting all the canceled episodes, and that comment did not go over too well with Brooke.
And then it's like, what do I do with this channel? Because it was my vlog channel before. Now is it just like continuing eras, and then like all of a sudden I'm like doing something else on this? Like it's just, do I leave Cancelled up? Or do we delete all of Cancelled?
What? Why would you delete all of Cancelled?
Brooke was like, what do you mean? How could you even think about deleting Cancelled? I'm still hoping for some money out of that every month. Why would you ever do that?
I don't know.
I'm counting on at least like $1,000 here and or there.
And this whole part of the podcast was a very, very uncomfortable watch. I got the feeling that Tana really wants to walk away from Cancelled and distance herself completely from Brooke. I mean, why would you even think about deleting something that's gonna generate you a lot of money every single month? I really just think this should have been a conversation that they had off camera because it was so hard to watch, and the comments are agreeing. We had people writing, no, Tana was definitely testing the waters to see Brooke's response. The awkward forced laughing the whole time is very telling. I love Tana, but this really rubbed me the wrong way. No, that's actually weird. Why would Tana change the channel into something else? Brooke helped build Cancelled as well. That channel is the both of theirs. Tana was legit serious, and Brooke looks legit caught off guard and scared. Time to lawyer up and draw up legal documents. Tana wants to erase Brooke, I fear. I love Tana, but this is so shady. Brookie baby, watch out. Lawyer up. She's acting like Cancelled is the worst thing that ever happened to her. And there was a time when people loved Brooke and cared more about her input over Tana's. It would be so upsetting to put years of your life into something that you're proud of, something that helped launch the career that you have now, and to think that it could all be erased and you really have no say in it. I don't know, it really makes me think Tana is trying to distance herself from Brooke and almost completely erase the fact that Cancelled did happen. A lot of people think that since Tana and Trisha are so close now, they have a podcast together, Tana sees how much Trisha has turned things around for herself, going from being cancelled, losing frenemies, being hated online, and always being involved in drama and never getting the big brand deals, to having this massive redemption, being on shows, SNL, constant big brand deals, having all these amazing opportunities. And why is that? Probably because Trisha has toned things down a lot and plays it safe and says what she knows that people want to hear, and it's working out for her. And that's not to say Trisha hasn't changed. Ever since becoming a mother, Trisha does seem to be on a really good path. I love Just Trish. But Trisha also knows being the troll she once was isn't beneficial anymore. It's safe to say that Trisha is no longer controversial, and I think Tana wants to follow a similar path. She doesn't want to be in the controversy anymore. She wants a peaceful life in Hawaii with Makoa. She wants the same redemption that Trisha has, and being associated with Brooke, who's freshly out of a cancellation, probably isn't going to get her there. Cancelled started because Tana was cancelled. She wasn't getting brand deals, but now she's getting her own lip liner with Tarte and working with some pretty big brands.
I cannot stress to you guys enough how much you are going to gag over Tana Mojo X Tarte Cosmetics, okay?
The Trisha path is in Tana's reach, and I think she knows that she has to distance herself from Brooke if she wants to achieve what Trisha's achieved. Trisha did end up talking about the situation between Brooke and Tana because it quickly became a hot topic, and she seemed to be more on Tana's side. She was like, if Tana wants it down because there's stuff she doesn't want out there, then she should be able to take it down, no questions asked.
Get all the episodes and re-upload on a dedicated channel just for that to be archived there. And
True.
so everyone can watch
I
it
think
whenever
Tana
they
liked
want.
what she said in them.
Right, no, I get that part. But as far as consideration to Brooke, she was like, okay, let's put it here. Whoever wants to go back and watch it, it's there. They can watch it
For public or just for them?
for the public.
But Tana doesn't want it out in the public.
I get that, but there's two people here, right? Like, so that would be that would
If he's like, please take this down, I wouldn't be like, well, no, we have sponsors on there and I'll have to pay the sponsors back. I'd be like, yeah, I'll take it down. It sucks. Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know.
It felt like Trish didn't even really consider Brooke's side in this, and it really makes me wonder how Brooke must be feeling right now. Trisha used to love her and live for her, and now it just seems like she's fully Team Tana, and people in the comments were even calling that out. One person said, I hated how Trisha did not want to listen to what Moses had to say about the Tana and Brooke situation. He was so right. Like, she could not compare her and Oscar to Tana and Brooke. Like, sure, she would be fine with losing the revenue if Oscar wanted to take all the videos down, because she's raked in thousands upon thousands from other ventures, like Tana. So of course it hurts more for Brooke. Just like it would hurt financially for Oscar if she decided to remove the channel. I mean, her sense of reality is starting to seem so out of touch. Like the surprise about Oscar only having an hour-long lunch break. Like, girl, that's why you can't put yourself in Brooke's shoes, and you're fully biased towards Tana. Oh, this was such a hard watch. And I do agree that Tana should get her own say on her own channel, but Moses had a great compromise where they should have the videos relocated to a different channel so that they can still get revenue. But let's be so for real. Tana does not actually care about the contents of what's in the podcast. Otherwise, they wouldn't have ever been posted, or they would have been removed ages ago. She just wants her channel to have a clean slate, which is fair. Anyways, that's my take. And you guys know one thing about Tana is that she's gonna ignore a situation until it goes away, so she doesn't have to address anything ever. I didn't think that she would end up saying anything about the backlash over this situation, but she actually did. She made this long TikTok trying to clear the air and pretty much said that she was just thinking out loud, and that's where she went wrong.
Implore the idea of deleting episodes of canceled. Don't shoot. I should not have just said that so flippantly. The problem is, obviously, though, when you're sitting and you're podcasting with someone that you have done this with for so long, and like you're on tour together and you're friends. I know the F word, it scares you all. You just say shit sometimes. You say shit flippantly. An idea comes through your head and you say it. And I think that's where I went wrong. I think if I was going to say that, I should have said all of my thoughts on that. Not just like, hey, should we delete years of our life's work and a body of work that means so much to not only us, but other people?
Tana said while they were on tour, they kept playing this old clip from a story time from Cancelled, and it made her think about how she wishes some of these clips could be completely wiped off of the internet.
But obviously also we're on tour, and every night this video is playing of me on the podcast. Specifically, it's the episode with Trevor Wallace, and that one might have to get chopped up. We might silently be deleting some things.
She also addressed how everyone's been telling Brooke to lawyer up and how she thought that was crazy because she would never ever do Brooke wrong in that way.
And people telling her to lawyer up and seeing all of that discourse is so funny to me, because it's like she can. I would only be, and people are only afraid of people lawyering up if they have something, A, that they're trying to hide, or B, that they're trying to shyst someone on. And one thing I am not ever going to do is shyst Brooke Schofield on $1 single.
She acknowledged that Brooke was definitely vital to the success of Cancelled, and she doesn't plan on doing Brooke wrong when it comes to the podcast, but says it's still her channel and she's deciding on what to do with the channel after the podcast ends.
I am closing this chapter and we're moving forward, and I want nothing but the best for her and myself. But like, I'm not gonna do her wrong, especially in the end when like, I am so well aware of how vital she was to this whole thing, you know? It is my channel, however. It was at 2 million before we started Cancelled.
To wrap things up, Tana said this is the perfect example as to why the podcast needs to come to an end, because people love to pin her and Brooke against each other when there's actually no drama. And I have to say, this response from Tana definitely went over better than the podcast. Most fans seem to be satisfied that Tana walked back what she said and stood by Brooke, with one person writing, "Thank you for standing up for her for once in your life." Another person said, "Why can't people just accept that you are genuinely friends? It drives me insane." So hopefully this means Cancelled can have a clean ending with no drama. But I fear sometimes when money is involved and one person technically has more power and is more popular, things can get messy quick. It's unfortunate, but I do feel like the best thing Tana could do is walk away from that channel and let it be a canceled graveyard. I don't know, it's a messy situation, and that's